following podcast is recorded and produced by Emerge, a media creators co-op, in affiliation with the network at bicbp-radio.com.
Hello and welcome to episode 27 of the Big Yak Podcast. It is I, Mike Pareto, alongside Nico as always. We have special guest, Coach Todd in the house.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So tell us about yourself. I know you're not from the Buffalo area. You're from Seattle area, right? Or
Auburn. I'm from Auburn, Washington. It's about
Washington.
30 minutes south of Seattle.
Okay. So yeah, tell us about yourself. Tell us your life story, because we were talking pre-show and seems we have a lot to unpack.
So life story, I don't think we have enough time. We might
have
this might have to be like a two-part.
Get the abridged.
If we want to do life story, but I'll rewind all the way back. So I'm from Auburn, Washington. I'm an only child raised by my great mother, Elaine Mecklish. She's a nurse from Seattle, worked out in Seattle, Washington. She's from Pittsburgh, so she knows the area.
Nice.
And so from there, I went to school at a Catholic school for a little bit. Then I went to a public school, Thomas Jefferson High School. Okay, so that's in Auburn, Federal Way area. So from there, then I went to junior college, 2 years of community college at Tacoma Community College. So I was lucky enough to get a scholarship to play there. So I played there for 2 years. Then from there, I went to Lewis Clark State University, and I played for 2 years. And then from there, I got drafted by the Miami Marlins in the 26th round. So that's pretty much how the life went for baseball.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
From there, what made you find your way to Buffalo?
All
the way from
after I got lucky enough to get drafted, I was down in South Florida, and then I played for a little bit there, a couple years. And then when I got hurt, I was down there and I met my girlfriend, and then we had a beautiful baby boy, Mason, as you know. He's 10 now. And she wanted him to be back, back here by family as he grew up. So I thought that would be a nice idea. She thought that would be a good idea. So we did that. And basically that's how I got here. So I went from Seattle, South Florida, and then I've been here about 7 years now.
7 years.
Yeah.
How do you like it so far?
I love it. It's perfect. Real nice, nice place to raise a family. We live out in Youngstown. So it's a little bit different from Auburn, where I'm from as well. So,
Definitely.
But I love it. It's nice. Nice people are nice here. The weather, I am still trying to get used to.
How was that blizzard last week?
The blizzard. Luckily for us, we did okay in Youngstown.
Mm-hmm.
You hope everybody's still doing okay, recovering from Buffalo, because it's pretty serious. Obviously, I've never seen anything even close to that. So, hopefully they're doing all right. But we were lucky in Youngstown. We usually get pretty lucky.
Nice. And now currently a trainer at the Village Fitness Club, my father's gym out in Lewiston.
Yes, shout out to Jeremy.
Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I got that opportunity about 3 years ago. I was actually working out pretty much at LA Fitness because I was just serving at the country club, Niagara Falls Country Club, and I didn't really know where I was going to go next after playing. You're done playing, and it's kind of just like that. Life happens. So eventually I just, worked, and I was working out, and I had somebody, shout out to Noah Munoz. He worked out at LA Fitness the same time as me, and like one time he's like, dude, you should, post the stuff on Instagram or whatever. And I was not really the type to do that initially, but I just did it, and that kind of helped me get into fitness more. And then from there, I thought, why don't I try to get certified? You know what I mean? So I just took the time and paid to do it. So, I would do that, late at night, study for it, and then I passed. And then somehow, well, probably by the grace of God, the timing was impeccable. I got certified as a trainer, and then your dad was opening that gym, and I was driving by, and it said, gym soon to open.
Coming
so
soon,
of course, I think me and him linked up. I sent an email, and then we had an interview. Kind of Orange Cat actually was our first interview. Of course, everybody shout out Orange Cat. Shout out to Orange Cat. So that's how that started, and then we did his other interview is a workout, they'll make you work out with you. So somehow I stuck around, even though he tried to get me to do a million pull-ups. So that's pretty much how it happened. And that's been a huge blessing because that's actually, opened a lot of doors for me going forward. So, no, that's really nice. You got a good dad. He's awesome.
Going back on your, from what Noah said to you with your Instagram account, imagine, look at you now. You're coming up on 15,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah, it's fun. It's still uncomfortable. I'm not ready yet to. Hopefully, this will help me get my face, in the camera a little bit more. But it's fun. But that's just kind of what you have to do if you're going to try to do any type of business or service. So it's kind of made me get out of my comfort zone. Because otherwise, if it was, you didn't have to go by that, then I probably wouldn't as much. But I think that's the way you kind of have to do it these days.
You have to know how to market to stay afloat.
Because everything's so saturated. Exactly. So.
Yeah.
You almost have no choice, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, digital media makes the world go round. It's just
believe it or not.
Yeah. So yeah, let's put you through the 2-minute drill. So you're a Seattle Seahawks fan, correct?
Yes, I am.
Alrighty, so you're very pleased with how the last week played out for you guys.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
It was about time for Rodgers not to be in the playoffs and. I'm probably one of the few people that actually had some optimism once Russell Wilson left.
Yeah.
Everybody thought we were going to be a dumpster, but the way I looked at it was the GM, the coach, they drafted well. They built it before and knew, so I was like, until we go 1-15 or whatever, I'm going to trust that they know what they're doing, you know what I mean? And it has ended up well, and I'm got to be happy for Gino and pretty much
they wrote him off, but he ain't right back.
No, that was amazing.
He ain't right back. You did not write
I need to get that shirt.
You didn't write him off, though. So
I did not.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. You ready for the 2-minute drill? We kind of talked about it pre-show.
Sure.
We got 6 headlines for you. You got 2 minutes to get through them all. Think of it like the final step in Family Feud style. So we're just going to spit them off. You give me what you got, and then we'll go right into it. I got 2 minutes on the clock whenever you're ready. Mike will lead off. Ready in 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Alrighty, so from last week's games, was Nyheim Hines' opening kickoff return for touchdown the best moment of this season, maybe one of the best football moments, sports moments of all time?
I'd say it's definitely one of the biggest moments I've ever seen, you know what I mean, especially how emotional it was, something like that. It reminds me of a time when Jose Fernandez unfortunately passed away, rest in peace, for baseball. And one of his best friends, D. Gordon, came up and on that first pitch hit a home run, and he's not a home run hitter.
Yep. Yeah.
So seeing that, that and relating it, it's that's what sports can, bring out. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Are the Arizona Cardinals now in full rebuild mode after letting go of head coach Cliff Kingsbury and GM Steve Keim stepping away?
I think they should be, but unfortunately, I'm not going to say I don't care because they're in our division, but I think it's time.
Should Mike Vrabel still have a job after fumbling the division title?
Yeah, you have to. You've seen what he's done.
Okay.
I think they'll be back.
Yeah, we just had a lot of people I've seen on social media calling for his head. I'm like,
no way, they're crazy.
A little too early.
Yeah.
Was this year's national championship game between Georgia and TCU the most embarrassing championship game of all time?
Probably. I didn't even watch it once me and Mason were watching America's Got Talent. I told you, speaking of America's Got Talent, that you were on.
You didn't miss much. Georgia won 65-7.
No, we flipped it over. It was 35-7. Me and Mason looked at each other like, are you serious? And then we just turned it off. And then we turned it back. It was 60. I was like, that's rough.
Yeah. See, I'm a TCU fan, and that was tough. So
19 seconds.
What team is the biggest frauds heading into the NFL playoffs?
Dolphins.
Okay.
Best Wings in Buffalo.
So far, in your tenure here.
Buzzies.
You're not the first.
I love favorites, though. Favorites. Shout out to favorites. No. Favorites. Favorites takes care of me, but Buzzies, they had this one flavor that was really good.
That's great. You had 3 seconds.
But I'd say they're tied with favorites. Shout
out favorites.
Shout out favorites. Shout out to favorites, of course.
That was great. You squeaked in there just with the 2 minutes left on the clock.
That's back-to-back weeks with Buzzies.
But that's because I could have kept talking, though. I could have kept talking. That's why.
You're a podcaster. That's
I don't know about that. We'll see.
Yeah. The biggest frauds when I mean, it's a good answer because Miami will not have Tua Tagovailoa this weekend. They will have Skylar Thompson, the rookie 6th-round pick quarterback, starting
earlier this afternoon. Yeah, Miami, I definitely agree with you. They're number one fraud. This game is not going to be close on Sunday. I'm just going to put it down right now that this game is not going to be close.
It's got to be probably 14.
Yeah.
Probably 14.
Yeah. It's at 13 and a half right now.
Still riding the emotional wave. I mean, it's got to be.
We're gonna touch on that with Take It to the Bank. We're gonna break down all the wild card games for this upcoming weekend. So before we head on to that, we're going to talk a little bit about we talked about the frauds of the NFL playoffs. Let's talk about who's in, who's out. Did any teams get snubbed, and should there be any other teams instead of another team? So in the AFC, you have Kansas City getting the number 1 seed. Both Buffalo and Kansas City and Cincinnati all won. But, with the DeMar Hamlin injury, Bills and Bengals couldn't play. So ultimately, Kansas City was rewarded the number 1 seed. Buffalo, 2 seed. They'll be playing the number 7 seed Miami Dolphins. We just talked about that. That's going to be in Buffalo at 1 o'clock. We have the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson still isn't practicing yet. So that could be another team that we could see being a fraud because...
What a fall from grace the Ravens had. They looked like the number 1 team. They looked like a potential Super Bowl winner come like week 5, week 6. And then once Lamar went down, this team's been
it went in the
stumbling and shaking since.
Yeah, that's how you figured that would probably happen. I don't know if he's going to come back now.
That's the thing.
Why would
it just
you?
goes to show
I don't know
how
if he
much
would.
Lamar's
They haven't taken care of him, so
exactly. They haven't.
That's just my opinion, though.
They haven't paid him. They still waiting to get a check, and this team is him, and that was shown these past month or so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him in a Jets uniform or
I just want to see him somewhere
Green
else.
Bay
It would just be entertaining, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely.
We also have the 4 seed versus the 5 seed. So we have Jaguars and we have the Chargers. So that's a little bit of an interesting game based on what I saw last week. Tennessee fumbled that game away. I mean, it's hard to win a game like that with Josh Dobbs at quarterback, as your quarterback. I mean, no offense, Josh Dobbs, but it's just they almost sneaked it out with the Jaguars. But the Jaguars, they look like a playoff team nowadays.
I think the Jaguars deserved it more.
Yeah.
They have that nice young core. And Trevor Lawrence is starting to do his thing. I'm a big fan of Trevor Lawrence, and I'm glad that he's starting to figure it out in the NFL. This game against the Chargers is going to be really interesting because it's a complete toss-up for me. I think it could go either way.
But I think the Jaguars, you can just tell they're that team. There's always that team that gets hot, and they're just
right time. Yep.
You don't really know what's going to happen. You're like you said, they're young, so they have nothing to lose. They're excited. The Chargers have been in the playoffs. They're kind of, you don't know what you're going to get, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At times they've been, as good as the top, the Bills, and at times, they look horrible.
They're
So
streaky.
I would watch out for the Jaguar. I don't know. Something about I just feel
Sneaky.
something. Yeah, there's something there. There's something there.
Yeah.
And Janice likes the uniforms too. So
They do have some pretty sick uniforms.
Do you think that talking about the AFC, do you think any other team should have made the playoffs? So we have Pittsburgh Steelers made a reel about that last week. Pittsburgh almost came away, but Jets did not win that absolute stinker between Miami. New England Patriots didn't look bad. They looked solid against that game against the Bills, but ultimately Buffalo had a very good second half ending that game, and they completely locked up New England. And then we also have the New York Jets. Any of those teams do you think deserve to be in over what we have right now?
I think it's easy to say that the Miami Dolphins don't deserve the position that they're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
After dropping, I think 5 in a row. Is either 5 or 6.
They went from 8-3. They are
9-8.
9-8. So
Given the roster that they currently have, and given their current streak, their last win was just last week to just sneak in.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pittsburgh deserves it a little bit more than Miami, but
that's where I was going to go. I'd say Pittsburgh. Other than that, I think it's right.
AFC felt good.
Pittsburgh's the only one you would put in there.
Jets, I did not feel comfortable.
Everything else kind of garbage. So
Yeah, exactly. Jets looked good early in the season. Titans looked good early in the season, but both teams have since fallen off. The rest of the AFC was kind of just meh. I mean,
Just man. Yeah.
you go beyond that, and it's the Browns, Raiders, Broncos, Colts, Texans. I don't think anyone, sans the Colts, thought that they were really going to be doing a lot this season.
And the Broncos.
No one would expect the Broncos.
Yeah, I didn't expect the Broncos and the Colts to be as bad
right.
as they were.
That's right.
Let's ride.
That's like I thought we left that in 2022, but you just got to say it one more time. Like I don't want to go there, but you almost have to be like, let's ride.
Ross will be saying it next season. So
hey, thanks to them, your team now has a top 10 pick.
I know so
that's got to feel good.
The future's looking bright. Getting Jamal Adams back.
Yeah,
we
Seattle
got a pick.
Has the number 5 overall pick, despite in the playoffs right now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
When it's anyone's game. I'm not gonna take it to the
having
bank.
A top
that
5
Seattle,
pick though,
exactly,
and being in the playoffs
exactly
is such a nice spot to be in.
I think Seattle can go in 10 different directions with that spot too. They could even trade out of it and keep building around Geno Smith. We'll see. There's so much that can be said about Seattle.
But we do need the edge rusher. If we get somebody that can get to the quarterback quick, then get Jamal Adams back. That'll have the back end too. I think.
If for whatever reason Will Anderson falls to 5, that would be the perfect pick for you guys. I have you guys in my very, very early mock draft that isn't complete yet. I only have a couple teams written down this. I have you guys picking up Jalen Carter. I think there's a bunch of QBs that get taken ahead of Seattle, and Jalen Carter, the defensive tackle from Georgia, I think might be that spot for you. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. Moving on to the NFC. So we have Eagles, Niners, Vikings, Bucks, Cowboys, Giants, and Todd, Seattle Seahawks. I mean, Philadelphia has been the number 1 team whole season. They've proven to us that they weren't the frauds that we thought they were. They're still they might have, if they had a little bit of a harder schedule, I don't think they would go 14-3 to be exact, but they're still, I think, a top 3 seed.
Yeah.
Regardless of that.
Yeah, they're good. Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, so, but right now, I mean, that being said, number 1 seed in the NFC, they get the week off. 49ers, a team in the first half of the season where they're kind of like, they look like a wild card team, maybe a division winner, and then they got Christian McCaffrey. Brock Purdy came on in the scene, and they
haven't looked back.
Exploded. So they're the NFC West champions. They will face the Seattle Seahawks, another NFC West rival. How are you feeling heading into that game?
I feel great. Third time's a charm.
Third time's a
We
charm.
lost them twice. Third time's a charm. They just played in the rain, the cold. You're gonna go play down there. I mean, you got to be they're feeling good.
Yeah.
Deion Dawkins, offensive tackle for the Buffalo Bills, had a quote earlier today about meeting a team for the 3rd time in a season. Mm-hmm. He goes, "Playing a team 3 times in the season is like being on a date for the 3rd time. You already know them well enough to to kind of figure some things out." So I feel like the Seattle kind of has that mentality going into this game again.
Absolutely.
We have the NFC North winning Minnesota Vikings, who have had a kind of a controversial way to success because of how close of margin games they've had this season.
Can I just say that they might be the worst 13-4 team of all time?
They're up there.
You think so, though?
They have a minus 3-point differential right now.
Hey, that's how you got to win sometimes.
That's I think it's the worst point differential for a division-winning team or a team with however many wins since the 50s. Yeah. That was a fun stat that I
We'll see. You got to be confident in Dable to draw something up, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think he's a good, amazing coach.
Yeah.
Go from Buffalo and you take the Giants to the playoffs. I like to see when the Giants are good. I think it's nice.
Yeah, I agree.
I do think, for that game, Giants going to give the Vikings a little bit of a run for their money. Then we have Tampa Bay versus Dallas. Brady versus Dak. Tampa Bay did not have a winning record. Somehow won the NFC South. I mean, that whole division was just the worst division in football this season.
That's the last person you want to play, though.
It is the last person you want to play.
Here's the thing. This is still Tom Brady versus Dallas. Tom Brady is 7-0 in his career against Dallas.
Yes.
Dallas is the king of the first-round exit, unfortunately. And I'm sure Dallas was kicking themselves, getting the 5 seed and
not
seeing
winning
that they
that
got
game
Tom
last
Brady
week.
on that schedule.
Do you think they go in there and win, though?
We'll talk about that later, but no.
I think they have a good fighting chance, but it's just I think Dallas would probably get out to a decent lead, than Tom Brady. Second half of the third quarter is just gonna like awake. You're gonna see him on the sideline.
The beast wakes up.
You're gonna see him on the sideline, like head down. He's gonna wake up, put his helmet
tablets
on.
in half next to him, and he's ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. And so some teams that got snubbed. Let's talk about that. Detroit Lions, Washington Commanders, Green Bay Packers. I mean,
so we went from the pack is back to the pack is out back.
Pack is out.
So the Detroit Lions, I think, was the only team that was deserving of a playoff spot out of the rest of the bunch.
Yeah, definitely Lions.
I loved watching the Lions this year, and they are going to be such a fun team to watch, especially when you consider the fact that they have 2 top 18 picks.
Yeah.
So this team is on the come up, and they're only getting stronger. Now imagine they trade out of that 5 spot or that number 6 spot and get even more picks for the future, and then build around Jared Goff. But
yeah, you gotta love
this
Dan
is such a
Campbell.
fun
I
team
mean,
to
he's a
watch.
great coach. He's building a nice culture there.
Shout out to Hard Knocks. You learn the inside of that locker room, and Dan Campbell is just such a captivating person. And I would run through a wall for Dan Campbell.
Oh yeah.
But,
Oh yeah, completely. So with that being said, let's move on to Take It to the Bank. Basically, we're gonna break down all the wild card games and talk about their lines, money line, spread, over under. First game, let's talk about. First game we have on the docket. Let me just pull up DraftKings real.
should be Seattle at San Francisco.
Yeah, Seattle at San Francisco is the first game. There we go. So coming into this game, how do you feel? How do you feel about coming into San Francisco and delivering this upset? I mean, third time's a charm, but San Francisco's a tough team.
They are good. They are a good team. But
The money line, not the money line. The spread is set at 9.5. San Francisco's 9.5 point
it's
favorites.
pretty disrespectful, but it's probably on par with whatever Vegas. You know how they do it. They get it right somehow.
They know. They have some sort of inside knowledge.
Over under is set at 42.5. Would you guys take that 42.5 over under? It's in San Francisco.
Probably under. They're both tight defenses.
So
Except against the run Seahawks, but
when I was doing my predictions for the game, I went into the game thinking I was going to take the under, and then I kind of went into the details a little bit. My long story short, my final score is, sorry Todd, San Francisco 27, Seattle 17, and that ends up with San Francisco covering and the overhitting, but just barely.
Yeah.
But this game is going to be a smash mouth run the ball game. So Seattle allowed 150 yards of rushing per game this year, which is third most in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And what does San Francisco do best? Run the ball. So it might be a long day or a short one if you think of it like that for Seattle. But Seattle, the only way that they're going to win is also by running the ball. I have both teams setting up the power run to set up the deep pass. Mm-hmm. The magic number for Seattle is 75 yards. They were 9-3 when rushing for over 75 yards this season, and they were 0-5 when they went under that number. San Francisco is right there, allowing 77.7 rushing yards per game, which is second in the NFL. Going back at these last 2 matchups, San Francisco only allowed 53 yards per game rushing. And, of course, they were 0-2 in those games, Seattle was. So, all that being said, I think this is going to be a use the power run to set up the deep ball game. And we'll see a lot of time crunching and deep balls.
Yeah, and I think ultimately Gino's going to have that fourth quarter.
Everyone's going to write him off.
That's what I see, and then he's going to be able to do it on like a big stage again. I think that would be cool. Take out the big OU down there and you take them out. I mean, that would be nice to keep it going. I don't want it to end just yet.
Yeah.
So maybe you get one more feel of like, oh man, Gino in this. You know what I mean? When everybody thought we were done. So I think that would be nice. But we'll see. You never really know.
I'm rooting for Seattle here. I always love a good underdog story. So I'm riding Gino all the way. He was my fantasy superstar quarterback. My one of my top waiver wire pickups of the season. So I'm rooting for you guys. I think it's safe to say that you're taking Seattle plus 9.5.
Yes.
Sir.
I'd say like 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that number is a little too wide. I think they are writing off Seattle a little bit.
Of course, that's
It's
why I
a
love it. I
divisional
love
matchup.
it, and I
That's the
can't
thing.
wait to watch on all the ESPN and all that. Who are you picking? And it's just gonna be Niners. Just like it was. It was Broncos. Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They like it like that. I think Pete Carroll likes it. He doesn't want to be like the Cowboys.
Bulletin
And,
board material.
he just wants to be, not really heard about. Not like Jerry Jones. You know what I mean? They're kind of. They just do their
It goes
thing
under
up
the
there,
radar.
go about their business. That's it. That's what I like about it.
Pete Carroll, Pete Cool.
Cool. Next game we have later that night on Saturday, LA Chargers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars coming in this game as 2-point underdogs at home. Over-under is set at 47.5. Me personally, I think the over-under is a little bit high. I'm gonna go to the under here. I know we have two offenses that can explode, but are they going to explode? 47.5 to me is a little bit high. But I do think we're going to see a good offensive matchup, just not 47.5 point.
I thought the same thing. I do have the under here. I do have Jacksonville covering. I have Jacksonville winning outright.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to personally take the money line on this game for Jacksonville. Everything makes sense for them. They started 2-6 and they finished 7-2. Doug Peterson is starting to find his groove again as a head coach, and he's kind of willing this team to victory. Trevor Lawrence is finding his stride. And hey, the first matchup against Jacksonville and the Chargers, Jacksonville won 38-10.
Mm-hmm.
They drubbed the Chargers.
That's another one too. Doug Peterson, winning like Dable, going somewhere else, being able to do it again.
He's a winner. What can I say? He's a good head coach. I think he's a top end a top half head coach in the league.
Yeah.
I think the game script here is Jacksonville's going to try to run it down the Chargers' throats. LA allowed 5.4 yards per carry this season, which is the most in any NFL team since 1959.
Wow.
Yeah. So ETN is going to have a big
that
game.
line.
Yes, that's insane with just Jacksonville +2. 5.4 yards per carry is a ton. If you play underdog daily fantasy, I would be taking Travis Etienne with your first overall pick for that Saturday slate of games. I am definitely grabbing Travis Etienne, and I think that this is going to be another smash mouth game similar to the game before it. I have Jacksonville winning 24-21.
I think Jacksonville's D is going to win it again, just like they did that last game. I just have Herbert will try to, win it, and I think that defense might secure it. We'll see, though.
Yeah.
I could see that happening for sure.
I'm going to ride with you guys here. I have confidence in this Jaguars team. I just don't have that much confidence in the LA Chargers. I mean, we've talked about all season.
They're hot and cold.
I think Justin Herbert is good, but I don't think he is as good as everybody has said.
I think he is. It's just Staley. We'll see. This is on
That's
Staley.
also another thing.
This is
I'm not a
Staley
big-
to be able to either get it out of him, or there might need somebody to be like, we
might be
can't
a hot
waste
seat.
Herbert's best years.
Mhm.
You
That's
need
another
somebody.
thing is I don't think Staley is that great of a coach.
Some of the game management decisions, like keeping Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler in last week when you already have the division secured. Maranto's laughing over there because that costed me the Emerging League championship. But
I
that's
don't even
not
want to
because
talk
of
about
this.
fantasy.
But
Oh boy.
I don't know why you keep your starters, and I think Mike Williams ended up leaving. Like he was
back injury.
carted off.
Yeah.
And you kept all the rest of your starters. And if one of your starters goes down in a meaningless game, I'm pulling the plug on all the rest of them. I don't want anyone else getting hurt. And so, there's a bunch of things wrong with the coaching staff in LA. But Brandon Staley might, if he loses this game next week and the season's over, he might be on the hot seat.
Oh, he's already on the hot seat.
Yeah, exactly.
He might get burnt.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
So let's go on to our Sunday slate of games. First game, Buffalo Bills hosting the Miami Dolphins.
Yes, sir.
So this line changed. What was the line this morning before Tua's announcement?
So a little story time from this morning. I was checking the lines, and I've been through the week. I like to Google some of the matchups, especially the Bills, just see what Twitter's saying, see what people are saying. I took it on FanDuel. FanDuel had Buffalo Bills -9.5 earlier this morning. About a couple hours later, after I took it, we got the news that Tua was going to be out. And the line, as like minutes after that line, or after that news was dropped, the line went from 9.5 to 13.5. 4-point jump in a matter of minutes thanks to Tua Tagovailoa being ruled out.
Well, and Bridgewater's out
Bridgewater,
too.
yes. Bridgewater's not playing. Skylar Thompson, who put up, I wouldn't even say 11 points. He put up 6 points last week.
Yeah, didn't even score a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. So going into this game, at first I was like, I am the most worried about Miami playing them a third time this season. As a Bills fan, I would have much rather taken the Steelers or even the Patriots. But now that we have a Skylar Thompson-led Miami team, I'm very confident in the Bills this week.
Well, it's the best situation they could have.
Hands down.
They could have gotten
1,000%.
So.
I told Dame early on this week. And anybody who doesn't know, he's a Dolphins fan. We've had him on the show before. I told him, I was like, listen, when we got the announcement that we're playing Dolphins, I'm like, listen, man, if Tua plays, it's going to be a hell of a game. I will not write you guys off. You guys will give us a great fighting chance. But when I saw today Tua getting ruled out, I texted him. I said, Dame, I just want you to buckle up because I don't know what's gonna happen Sunday,
up,
but
buckaroo.
it's gonna get a little ugly. I think
That's the thing, and I'm looking at both these teams. Miami's very banged up. Not only Tua, not only Bridgewater, but Skylar Thompson. Oh, I have Skylar Thompson just sucks. That's in my notes.
Oh.
But Raheem Mostert has a broken thumb. Terran Armstead is questionable. And
he's hot and cold with
and that's the thing too. So I wouldn't consider him an X factor at this point. This offense is literally going to be Jeff Wilson and a prayer that someone can get the ball in the hands of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And I don't think that prayer will be answered by Skylar Thompson. No. So Buffalo's playing with emotions going into Sunday. Jamison Crowder and Micah Hyde's 21-day practice window have opened up.
Very big.
DeMar Hamlin has been discharged from the hospital.
Very big.
This Buffalo team is absolutely pumped. It's in Buffalo. The fans are going to be insane. I wish I was going to the game.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
One quick note: 30 and partly cloudy for game time. So no BS weather.
That's a great day.
That's a perfect
I'm starting to learn to be
January
okay
Buffalo
with 30 degrees.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I was like, this is crazy, but
another thing.
Buffalo got a couple of the defenders back too, didn't they?
Christian Benford.
Christian Benford should be active this week. And
Micah Hyde
he's out. They ruled him out for this week.
They did rule him out. Okay.
But for next week,
we think he's coming out.
So, question about going back to Tua. Do you think if it was another year, would they have got Tua in?
I don't know.
Or is it a different game?
That's
now?
a good question.
Is the league different now?
There's a good quote that McDaniel, Miami's coach, came out with today. He was like, I care about his health as a human being before a football player. And so I finally think that we're starting to see I do think there is some questionable things the NFL has done with handling injuries, but I think the coaches, especially what we saw from the Bills-Bengals game, with how they're handling injuries and how they're going to put them out, or
coaches are starting to
if they're going to pull them or they're going to put them in. I think they're really starting to step up and step in the place of what the NFL should be doing. But I think going forward with how critical they are going to be with concussions and with his situation where he is, third concussion this season? Third
concussion in a year. I mean,
yeah.
I know a lot about concussions.
It's not good.
As a soccer coach and having a kid went through them and then having a bunch of other players go through them over the years, I mean, we don't know enough about concussions. That's the first thing we know about concussions. We don't know enough about them. Mm-hmm. And that many concussions in such a short period of time, I don't want this guy walking around going through what some of these other guys have gone through. It would have broken my heart. I'm obviously I'm happy for the Bills in the sense that they don't play a guy who's going to be their rival, but I just hope he has a nice recovery and they figure out what they need to do to help this guy out.
Yeah.
So that he can play. If not, then this guy, he shouldn't. I don't know how many more years this guy's going to have.
I was thinking the same. I was talking to one of my clients earlier. It's pretty rough. You don't know.
He is such a talented player, and you're starting to see the difference, especially this year. Comparatively, just in the quarterback room, how well they perform when he's on. I think it's still true in a game that Tua has started and finished. I think he's undefeated, or it might have just been the Buffalo loss, the second game against Buffalo.
His only loss when he started a game was the Buffalo game.
That's it. Yeah,
and they could have won that game.
Yeah, they could have. It came down to the Bills being the Bills that we know of.
Yeah, they were having a good year.
So, he's such a talented player. I think Miami did the right thing in not playing him. Putting my Bills fan bias aside, just for the player health and safety. So, I'm glad that he's not playing in the sense that I want to see him have a rivalry. I want the Miami and Bills rivalry to come back. I want to see that again, and I want it to be more exciting just as a fan of the game. So, letting him sit, they're probably going to lose this game, and Vegas, as it says so. But going into next season and beyond, I mean, I think that's just better for the long term of the franchise itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, when I found out that we were playing Miami, I was a little disappointed. I was just like, I don't think Tua's going to play him.
Yeah.
And so that's why we talked about earlier. I mean, there's a couple other deserving teams that should have been in. I mean, you just said it. Like, when Tua's in there, you see such a drastic change in that team. Like,
he has control of that offense.
He has control of the offense. When he's in there, that's what helps make. When Tyreek Hill made that statement early in the season, we talked about this on the show about how like he's more accurate than Mahomes, or he was better than Mahomes. I don't know. He said something along those lines.
Most accurate ball he's ever seen.
He's not Patrick Mahomes. Nobody's Patrick Mahomes.
No.
But it showed how good he is. He actually is that good. Like, not as good as Mahomes, but he's in that like conversation at times.
He was approaching MVP conversation midseason.
That just shows how important a franchise quarterback is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're not.
If it costs you one season, but it means, hey, you're going to have this player for the next 4 or 5 years instead of maybe him going out and calling it a career.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the catalyst. Me as a Bills fan, if Josh Allen is in this situation, I would say we'll take the shellacking by the Dolphins. Like, let Josh Allen sit, heal. This won't be our year, but we're going to come back next year. Yeah. So
that's all you can hope, really.
Exactly.
Yeah. Dolphins have a bright future ahead of them. It's just as Maranto said, we don't really know what he's going to be doing after the season. Like, is this the end for him? Is this, is he going to come back even stronger? Are they going to let him play? We'll see. We don't really know. But the Bills, even with Tua was playing, if they weren't as injury-ridden as they were, I would still pick the Bills. I mean, if I want to be completely honest, I didn't really like what I saw that much from last week. I mean, I loved the enthusiasm for playing for DeMar and whatnot, but I thought our defense got carved up at times. Like
Mac Jones looked like a top half NFL quarterback.
Yeah, he looked competent last week, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, what are we doing? And then I'm just going to say it out here. I texted you about it. I'm not trying to slander the guy. Gabriel Davis needs to be investigated.
Gabriel Davis.
Gabriel Davis needs to be investigated.
So me and Mike were going back and forth all week about this. Both of us have lost money thanks to Gabriel Davis.
Yes.
On multiple occasions. This isn't the first time.
And James
that
Cook, but I have confidence in James Cook.
James Cook, it's still young for James Cook.
Yeah.
I have been exploited by Gabriel Davis. I have been led astray, run amok, flat out deceived by Gabriel Davis. Yeah. He has bit me too many times. I can't bet on him anymore. But in all seriousness, I think what we're missing is teams have figured out Buffalo's offense in a way. Mm-hmm. Brackett Diggs, Davis is inconsistent. You're banking on Davis having an outstanding
It's not
game.
even just Gabe Davis, though. It's Isaiah McKenzie, too.
He flopped.
He'll be all right, though.
I'm
not even worried about it.
Yeah, it could just be an off season for him. It happens.
Yeah.
I mean, and I will say we have become kind of snobby as Bills fans because he still had 7 touchdowns, 800 yards on the year. But you look at him in critical moments.
You guys got used to like putting up 30 a game and just like blowing like there was a stretch where they were just like
2020.
That Bills
throwing
2020
it
offense
everywhere,
was the best offense I've ever seen.
Davis is so frustrated. He catches one, he drops one, he catches the ones that that no one should catch.
Yep.
And then drops the ones that I could catch. Like, I mean, like, what are you, like, oh my, and then that's where my father's, genetics take over, and I'm swearing at the TV. And it was hard this week to not, like, because you want to be like, you got It's all right. We're just lucky to be here, but I want to win. Like, it's the Patriots. So as a fan, they were. So finally, I was like, I just got to go take some Christmas lights down. I got to get away because Dave Davis. He was making me so mad. I got to go take Christmas lights down. I got to get out of the house for a couple minutes.
I had a 1,200 parlay that was going to hit. Had Gabe Davis caught that deep ball in the end zone that hit him in the hands right in the breadbasket. I screamed. I think my dog jumped like 3 feet in the air when he yelled. But Gabe Davis, I love you, but you're just so frustrating sometimes. So please, let's reel it all in. Let's draft another receiver.
Listen, man.
Come back strong for the playoffs. Bring back that 4-touchdown game. And you know what? You know what I'm going to do? If the Bills go to a championship game and they inevitably see Kansas City, everyone is going to talk about Gabe Davis hitting the 2-touchdown, 3-touchdown, People are going to take that prop bet because of last year's game. I'm not going to do it, and because I don't do it, that's going to be when Gabe Davis has 5 touchdowns in a game.
Of course.
He's going to go. He's going to go.
It's just like fantasy. It's like
exactly.
you put on the bench, he scores 25, you put him in, he's horrible for. Like A.J. Dillon, I thought he was going to help me out.
Oh,
so
don't even
put
get
him
me
out.
started.
Yeah.
Dillon.
We don't want to go there.
Yeah. But I will say this: 25% of Gabe Davis's yards and touchdowns came in one game. Mic drop. Let's go on to the next game. No, but I mean, I was arguing with somebody yesterday about it.
Is that a true stat? 25% came from one game.
It's like around a
it's
quarter.
It's the Kansas City game, right?
No, the Pittsburgh game.
Oh my god!
A quarter of his yards
yeah.
came from that game because he had 800. I mean,
That's a good stat.
He's going to
Yeah,
score
that's
when
a
you
really
need
good
it, though,
stat.
now in the playoffs. So
yeah, 3 of his 6 or 7 touchdowns,
7 touchdowns,
came from that game.
That's I didn't know that. That's a
I
pretty
looked
good
at the stats. I was upset because I was upset from the game, the Patriots game, and then I looked at the stats. I'm like, let me just see if he's really a problem.
Right, you look at his box stats from the whole season. They're like, okay, that's solid wide receiver 2 numbers.
You break down the games, and you're like,
Take away Pittsburgh and Kansas City, and then what?
you're looking at like a wide receiver number 4.
You're looking at Khalil Shakir numbers, unfortunately.
Numbers.
Giants and Vikings.
Giants
let's
and
get into it. Let's get into it.
Vikings at home, 3-point favorites. Over under is set at 48.5 for this game.
That's too high.
It is too high. I'm not counting out Daniel Jones, but I mean 48.5 from that side to what the Vikings might put up. I don't know. I mean 48.5 is too long or too high. So
I agree.
Either way you cut it, I'm going to take the under. I think the Vikings are going to sneak a win out here. I don't know if you guys agree. I think the Vikings will sneak a game out.
I think they will. I think their offense
They're not.
is what can. I think they'll just outscore.
Oh, their defense is not.
You know
yeah.
what I mean? I think they might just outscore the Giants.
Justin
but I don't
Jefferson
know.
will
Like
take
I
over
said,
the
the
game.
Giants are like my NFC's Jacksonville.
Yeah.
There's just
That's a good
something
way to put it.
about them. Like I like Dable. I'm big into, what the culture's like, and
That roster is way overperforming.
You see something. Saquon, who knows? He might go off when the
Could
lights
see
are
him
on.
having over 100 total yards.
That's what I'm saying. So
I think that
I got the Giants, honestly.
you do
I do.
money line. Let me pull
If
up
I
the
had
money
to,
line.
I think I would have to get the Giants.
I have it. I have Vikings winning 24-21, but this game is going to really be whoever has the ball last wins. Both of
That's
these.
how it is with every
Exactly.
Minnesota game anyway.
Exactly.
So.
It's yeah. I definitely am not going to rule out the Giants for this game. I think the Giants could sneak in. Take a look back at the Eli Manning years and their first Super Bowl with Eli Manning, and they were a 7-9 team. They came in, and the lowly team went in and vanquished
Super
Tom
Bowl.
Brady. Exactly. So I'm not ruling out the Giants. I'm not ruling out Brian Daboll. I'm not ruling out this overperforming roster. There's a lot of momentum coming into them, but I just think that Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook kind of take this.
They might
game
be
over
too
towards
much.
the end.
It's positive. It's possible, but I don't know. We'll see what
Don't write the Giants
Kirk
off.
Cousins does in the playoffs. I don't.
That's
He's
a
another
good
one
point.
for me, like a Herbert. Like
Really
they're
know.
good. They're obviously good at times. They put up crazy numbers, but at the end of the day, who's going to win the playoff game? I don't know.
A good friend of ours, Taj, he'll go on record and tell you that Kirk Cousins is a loser, and we'll stand by it no matter what.
Okay, fair enough.
So yeah, he'd agree with you there.
Next game we have Sunday night game, Baltimore at Cincinnati. Rematch of last week's game. And I feel like every week we break down a Baltimore game, it's the same story the last, 5-6 weeks. If Lamar Jackson plays, this team has a chance to win.
If they play, I'll be 76 still saying, if Lamar plays, then...
Yeah. But I don't think he's playing. Tyler
He
Huntley
didn't practice today, correct?
Didn't practice today.
Okay.
Backup Tyler Huntley was limited with a shoulder injury. If Anthony Brown plays this game, if they announce him as a starter, I see this game going to like a 15 point.
More than likely. But we still got one more day, so we can't.
Yeah, we can't.
You just don't know.
We just don't know.
I don't know. I don't think he's going to play. I don't think he's going to play.
I'm
honestly.
running to the sports books right now and taking Cincinnati -8. Yes. That's small. I got my Joe Cool shirt on right now. I am pro Cincinnati all the way. If the Bills don't make it to the Super Bowl, I'm rooting for Cincinnati just like I did last year. Let's not forget that they are the AFC defending champions.
Yes.
I
think that was forgotten.
Yes.
In the middle of the year.
All
when
the
Chase
hype with
was
the Bills
hurt,
and the Chiefs.
Chase was hurt. Yeah, it was like people forgot about him, and
they
that
started
now they're
0-2,
looking.
but Joe Burrow just had an organ removed with his appendicitis, so it took him a few weeks to get back
Appendix was
to form.
slowing him down.
Yeah, he looked like a shell of himself the first 2 weeks, but I would too if I just lost a major organ. Yeah. So, and especially with all the limelight on Kansas City and Buffalo through the season, Cincinnati I think has a better offense than both of them. I think that they have the best offense in the AFC.
Oh yeah, Cincinnati.
When all teams are fully healthy, I'm taking Kansas City, Buffalo, or Cincinnati. I'm taking Cincinnati.
Yeah, those are the three, in my opinion. If you just AFC, those will probably be your best
top
three
three.
for
And
sure.
I think that's going to be the big three for years to come.
It's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, we're sitting at 8-5 currently as of Wednesday night. Over under is set at 40.5. I think, as I said, Lamar plays. Give me the over, but that's probably going to change. The spread's going to change, all depending on who's playing quarterback. Right now, with the uncertainty, I'm not going to take the over.
Oh, I'm slamming this over because
Yeah,
I think
slamming the over.
I think Cincinnati could get 40 points themselves.
Baltimore's defense.
It's got to be 30s. It's going to be like
they're
30s.
Going to score 30-something points.
18 Buffalo or Baltimore 18.
Listen, Ravens defense has been kind of overrated. I will go out and say that.
It's in Cincy. Are you kidding me? If they get rolling with the Higgins and Chase, no.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be, and then the backup quarterback in that place, no.
Exactly. The backup
be
quarterback
like
is
10.
going to put.
They'll win at least by 10.
Exactly, and that's the thing. You got to factor in the Anthony Brown throwing a pick and putting the Bengals in perfect field position on the 20-yard line. And I feel like turnovers are really going to play a factor into this game, where Cincinnati is going to start in the Ravens territory multiple times throughout this game.
Yeah.
This is like equivalent. If Lamar doesn't play, it's like equivalent of the Bills, Miami. It'll just be.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see. We will see. Last game we have of the wild card weekend, Monday night, Dallas at Tampa Bay. Dallas coming into this game 2.5 favorites on the road. Over under is set at 45.5. I'm actually going to take this over here.
I have the over too.
I think these two quarterbacks are going to duel it out.
That's fair.
If there was one game that was going to circle to be a shootout, I think it would be this game. It is a very interesting matchup. Dallas is kind of sputtering. They lost 2 of their last 4, and it seems like the same old story goes with Dallas. Come the end of the year, the gas runs out of the tank, and sad.
We shall see. It's a whole new season, though. That's the only thing. You know what I mean? You got to reserve that, but
they're going dancing. Maybe they lost their sputter a little early this year, so they can have that second win going into the postseason. On paper, this is one of the most talented rosters in the NFL. For whatever reason, whether it be coaching or what, they just can never seem to finish the job. Yeah. Dak hasn't looked the same since returning from injury. He's had 11 picks since Week 12. 15 total picks on the season, which is tied for the NFL league, and that's with him missing 5 games. Yeah. So he had 15 picks, leads the league in the NFL, and missed 5 games.
It's been rough. To say the least.
And then, mind you, Brady is, like I said, 7-0 versus the Cowboys.
Yeah, you can't bet against.
Dallas, like I said, they have the talent to get it done, but TB has TB. Tampa Bay has Tom Brady.
Never bet against Tom Brady in the playoffs.
Nope. This is the nightmare
I don't think
scenario.
I would. I mean, what if it was Bills, though?
See, That's my biggest fear. I have the fear where, Tom Brady. I said about this earlier in the season when Tom Brady or when Tampa Bay was kind of sputtering. My biggest fear is Tampa Bay sneaks into the playoffs and Tom Brady does his thing and somehow finds his way in a Super Bowl against the Bills. And then
that's got to be like the ultimate.
It's
what
fate.
would happen? Like
it's
it almost kind of
it's
is
a
when
great
he went
story,
to the NFC.
but it's not a movie, and
you never
they're
know.
not. I just can't see them getting past the Eagles or even San Fran. I just
What if
don't,
they got hot though?
I think that San Fran. I just don't think they can keep up in a game against the Eagles or San Fran. I just don't think they can keep up.
We also didn't see him, being 40, whatever, and going to Tampa and winning the first year, just getting traded, boom.
But I'm going to
Bowl.
say this: they were 8-9.
Yeah.
They're not.
This
They're.
is true.
Yeah, they had some good games at the end here, but like. They're going to beat Dallas. There's no doubt in my mind they're going to beat Dallas, but I think this is it. They're not, because Dallas in the playoffs is just terrible, and it's just great growing up watching the Bills and losing to Dallas. Just you want to see. I love when Dallas loses in the playoffs. It's just like this. It's like Christmas time. But I respect Brady. I'd be the first one to think he's the greatest of all time, but I just don't think by himself that he can drag that team.
It is
to
a
the
mangled
Super
up
Bowl.
roster.
They are pretty bad.
And Eagles and San Fran. I mean, they still seem like they're not sputtering.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, they did that right. TV did it right. That's why they get all that money.
Yeah.
That's why the players can get paid. I mean, you put that in mind. I mean, who's not watching that?
Exactly.
No, it's
Monday.
it's a
Who is
good
not
weekend. It's a
watching
bunch of
that?
good games.
It
It's
is
really
great.
the really only bad potential game is really I think the Buffalo game,
Yes, exactly.
and that's only because Tua's not playing.
yeah.
Agreed.
So let's take it to the bank. Real quick, let's go to Mike and Nico's underdog pick 5. This week I actually have my phone and account working, so we'll say my pick 5 on the air instead of posting it on. Well, we're still going to post it on Instagram, but it is up and going right now. So
Talking about underdog real quick. Time to get paid for us. You ready, Mike?
yes, sir.
Underdog keeps it super simple with their easy-to-use website and mobile apps. Pick between 2 to 5 players to fill out your pick'em slip. Get every pick right and take home some cold hard cash. Use code BIGYAC. That's BIGYAC, and get your first deposit doubled up to $100 by Underdog. This week I have. Yes, sir. Let's win some money. For my underdog picks of the week, I have Kenneth Walker higher
choice.
than 74.5 rushing and receiving
choice.
yards. Brock Purdy higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns.
That's fair.
Trevor Lawrence higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns as well. James Cook higher than 37.5 rushing yards. And Kirk Cousins lower than 37.5 passing attempts.
All right.
Mike, what do you got?
This is,
The Kirk Cousins one, that might be.
That's a
He might.
feisty bet.
I like it.
this is my thing. This is my picks of this week. Austin Eckler higher than 38.5 receiving yards. Deebo Samuel higher than 13.5 rushing yards. You like to run him a little bit. Not as much as last year, but still like to run him. He's all coming off injury. Josh Allen higher than 255.5. I think he's gonna, as we said, this game could be ugly.
Is that passing or total yards?
That's passing.
Okay.
Tyler Lockett higher than 5 catches.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
8.
Okay. Saquon Barkley higher than 0.5 rushing touchdowns.
I think he gets a rushing touchdown.
I'm
definitely.
taking the higher on all of these because we're in the playoffs.
Life's too short
Hammer
to
the
take-
higher.
Oh, yeah.
The higher.
Life's too short to take
The lower.
What are you feeling? How do you feel about those picks?
I like it.
It feels good?
I like it.
The only one I'm a little iffy on with mine is the first two. Eckler 38.5 receiving yards. I feel like he'll have like the catches and then he'll have like a touchdown or two, but I feel like I'll get snubbed by like a yard, 37. He'll have like 37 receiving yards. Then Debo, I mean, all depends on how their offense is going. If Seattle can stump their offense a little bit and they have to resort to Debo running some like reverses, some getting a
I could
draw.
see him ripping off one big rush, and then there you go. There's your high.
Yeah.
And that's
We're
the
good
higher.
for one big one a game, but then we usually can kind of clamp down, in my opinion. But we're definitely good for at least 1.5 long runs. Like, wow.
Yeah, and
Debo's the guy to do it.
we only need 13.5 from him. So 13.5 is really not that many yards.
No,
So,
just one little 15-yard rip.
Yeah.
that's it. And you can go catch some balls.
Yeah, like I said, Kenneth Walker has been kind of a new focal point for that offense. I feel like he's been getting involved.
He's incredible.
More often than not. He's up there for Rookie of the Year, at least for Offensive Rookie of the Year. 74.5 rushing and receiving just seems like a gimme.
I like that. Yeah.
Brock Purdy, I don't think he's thrown for less than 2 touchdowns in
Oh
any
yeah,
of
he'll
the games
get,
that he
he'll get
started.
at least 2. I'd say he'll get 2.
Trevor Lawrence, I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, so I'm taking Trevor Lawrence for 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think that one was just easy.
Yeah.
James Cook has been seeing a lot more focus and emphasis in the Bills' offense, especially in their rushing attack.
Well, they need to
Exactly.
set up the rest.
And here's the thing, too. If we think this game is going to be a blowout, they're going to probably rely on James Cook to just close it out. So 37.5 rushing yards was a gimme for me. And then Kirk Cousins, that's the only one I'm kind of iffy about. Lower than 37.5 passing attempts. That's just such a high amount of passing numbers.
I just go back to that game where they were losing by however many, and then they just came back.
The Colts game.
Yeah. I'm sure that didn't go well for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, I'm
betting.
Sure. Or maybe it did. Maybe on the flip
This
side,
is
maybe
true.
it did.
Yeah, there's always at least somebody that was betting it crazy.
So that being said, we're going to start a new segment on this show. So since the NFL's regular season is over, we had the first 18 picks of the 2023 draft order. So we're going to call our draft segment for this season, and maybe for seasons to come, if we agree on it, the Big Yak War Room. So this is the Big Yak War Room. And anything that's college football related, NFL draft related, scouting related, from the Senior Bowl games, Combine, all going to go in this segment.
Yeah, so leading up to the 8 weeks in between the Super Bowl and the draft, we'll be going division by division.
Yes.
And breaking down potential draft needs or mocks for those teams in each division. So that's a little bit of a sneak peek of what's to come. But in the meantime, we'll still be kind of throwing a little bit of draft info, whether it be player info, just for all those fans that aren't in the big dance right now.
Yeah.
We got something for you, too.
Yeah. So this week we just wanted to set it up just for the future, for the next couple months, because from this week on, it's all playoffs until the Super Bowl. So, and each week we'll have there'll be each team that loses will be added on to the draft order. So we'll talk about that and where they're picking. But right now, let's run down what we have so far. So right now, Chicago Bears, you are on the clock. Everybody thought Houston Texans were going to grab the number 1 pick, but for some reason Houston wanted to go insanely hard and win.
Rub it in Jeff Saturday's face.
Rub it in Jeff Saturday's face.
Brutal.
Yeah, so they gave up number 1 pick, gave it to Chicago. So this is what we're looking at right now. I'm going to run down the order. Number 1, Chicago. Number 2, Houston. Number 3, Arizona. 4, Indianapolis. Number 5, Coach Todd's Seattle Seahawks via the Denver Broncos. Pick number 6, Detroit Lions via LA Rams. Number 7, Las Vegas Raiders. 8, Atlanta Falcons. 9, the Carolina Panthers. 10, the Philadelphia Eagles via New Orleans.
Insane.
Yeah. Pick 11, Tennessee Titans. Pick 12, Houston again via the Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson trade. Pick 13, New York Jets. 14, Patriots. 15, Packers. 16, Washington. 17, Pittsburgh. And the 18 is the Detroit Lions again. So Houston 2 picks, Detroit 2 picks. We have Philadelphia Eagles, the number 1 seed in the NFC with a top 10 pick, just at the borderline. And then we have a wild card team in the Seattle Seahawks with pick number 5.
Yes.
So, we're going to – Chicago Bears, you're on the clock. They already have their franchise quarterback unless they decide to trade him.
Here's the thing. Reports are coming out that they're going to take a good long look at Bryce Young and see if he might be the now number 1 overall pick.
They might pull it.
And trade Justin Fields.
Yeah, they might pull a Arizona Cardinal.
Yeah. Now, I absolutely would hate to see this for the Chicago Bears because that just sets back their franchise another couple of years when Justin Fields he was close. He was, I think, 60 yards away from the single-season QB rushing record. He's starting to figure it out in the passing attack, and he's approaching that critical third year for quarterbacks in the league. I think Chicago has to use this pick to trade down, get a haul, and build around Justin Fields. I think if they can trade down to like the number 6 or number 7 spot with Detroit or with or Vegas, I would say even Vegas might move up to number 1 to get their pick of the litter for quarterbacks, or even a team like Indy at 4 might try to trade. Just get some more picks to build around Justin Fields, and then take a receiver in that first round.
Yeah, they need to figure something out because it's just been abysmal. Yeah. No culture, you just don't know what they are, no stability, we don't know. That's why I think it's nice that Justin Fields doing well. They got
Chicago
something
fans
to
need
build
something
around.
to hold on to.
You just worry about the running, all the type of run,
Exactly.
They're not Josh Allen. So
Right.
eventually you're going to get hurt.
So that being said, your Seattle Seahawks are picking at 5. Who do you think is the biggest need coming into next season?
I just think we need an edge rusher.
Edge rusher?
That's when we were at our best, was when they were getting to the quarterback. Then they, we had a great back end. They intercept passes. That gets our momentum. Like, that's when we're doing well. Like when Diggs intercepted that pass in overtime for us. Like that's how.
That was
at least back when we were really, really winning a lot.
In front
That's
of Bobby
how.
Wagner. Did you see
That's
that?
yes. That was. Luckily, he didn't get a penalty though, which we do a lot of penalties. That's for sure.
Yeah.
They're a young core. I do like their rookie cornerback.
Oh yeah, Woolen.
Woolen has been
Tariq
fantastic.
Woolen's
Yeah, they look great.
I think they can really build their core thanks to Denver.
Yep.
Will Anderson is sitting there, is a top 5 prospect nationally. His sack numbers are down from 2021. He had 10 sacks this year to last year 17.5, but he's
10 sacks is still,
exactly.
Still nice.
Exactly. And in Bama too, that's an SEC and
Top school. Yeah.
So, I'm looking at Will Anderson as the number 1 edge rusher in the draft. If he finds a way to fall to 5, if he gets past Houston or Arizona, then he's all yours for the taking. And
that would be nice.
Huge.
Yeah. So that was the Big Yak War Room, a little brief segment, and then it's going to get even larger once we hit after the Super Bowl because we don't have fantasy football to talk about.
It'll be free agency, combine, draft.
No take it to the bank. So yeah, that's going to be a big segment.
Today's just a taste.
Just a little taste. Next, I just want to touch on the Pro Bowl, new Pro Bowl skills competition. This year, the Pro Bowl will have the following games instead of an actual football game. Dodgeball, precision passing, longest drive of a golf ball.
I love that.
I had no idea that was the thing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch that. Well, someone's going to be really good, though.
If Patrick Mahomes is in the Pro Bowl, if he doesn't make it to the Super Bowl this year, I think Patrick Mahomes will get that one, just based off of looking at the match.
Yeah.
But
so best catch is going to be – it's a little bit different this year. It's going to be similar to a dunk contest. So they're going to – we'll see how
It's different. I mean, got to do something entertaining because they know they're losing, without
All-star game.
people playing and playing hard. It's like they're losing viewers. They got to do something. It sounds cool.
I think this is the best thing that they could have done. The best catch is going to be, I think, it's going to be their stake into the NBA slam dunk contest game. Mm-hmm. I remember, I don't know if it was last year or the year before when Diggs was in their best catch when they were kind of just implementing it. He went through a table and caught the ball.
Yeah.
So we'll see a lot of fun stuff like that. But that's fun. I do like the OG skills competition where they had like the deepest pass.
Yeah, the deepest throw. Yeah, I would
if they
like
brought
to see
that back, it would have been perfect for me. But.
Yeah. Well, Josh Allen would win that. Or Mahomes. We also have the Gridiron Gauntlet Race. We have Kick, Tic-Tac-Toe, Move the Chains, Weighted Wall Pull.
Wow, I didn't even know they had all this. Wow.
They just announced it this morning. They
wow.
have all these little mini games.
Yeah, they expanded it.
Kick-Tac-Toe is going to be a fun one, I think.
Yeah.
Was that the field goal? The field goal one.
Yeah.
They did that before.
Yeah, they've done that before.
The
yeah.
They've done
precision
that.
kicking where they have to win tic-tac-toe.
I guess they're bringing
by
them back.
kicking
Yeah.
field
Yeah. Then they have a 3-part lightning round. Not really too sure what we'll see with that, but
so this is each conference will select 16 players to compete in a 3-part elimination challenge that will leave one player left at the end and earn points for his conference. And the first event splash catch. Teammate pairings from each conference will toss water balloons back and forth from increasing distances. Each tandem that completes all of their tosses advances to the second phase.
Stupidest.
This is Fun Day.
That's a little.
This
yeah,
is just
but
the dumb. This is the Battle of the Network
right.
Stars
Yeah,
from when I was a kid. When like the stars from the ABC TV shows would play like tug of war
Listen.
with like the guys from like Hill Street Blues.
This is gonna be fun. You think
I
it's
don't
stupid
think
now,
it
but this
is.
is gonna be fun.
That
It's
one, I
always
don't
the
know.
let's see.
I
Okay,
guess.
This is
round
terrible.
Round 2, high stakes.
I'm gonna believe in you.
Let them just have a weekend and no one has to film it. Like we don't need to.
Advancing players will attempt to catch punts from a jugs machine to earn their place representing their conference in the final round of the competition. In the final part of the challenge, Thrill of the Spill, the remaining players from each conference will aim at targets attached to a bucket hanging from the head of an opposing conference's coach. The first team to dump the bucket on the opposing coach wins and earns 3 points for his conference. I wonder if this will set up a Nickelodeon slime contest deal.
That's kind of cool.
They should just done it on
last course,
Nickelodeon.
I
It would have
know.
been actually more interesting if it was a Nickelodeon.
I wouldn't be surprised. This is probably their trial run. And then next year, I would be shocked to not see Nickelodeon sponsor this event. Going into, longest drive will be interesting. They added precision passing from Madden.
It's brought to you by Madden.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, it's just the target practice
yeah,
one.
that
Okay.
one's pretty cool.
And then, of course, best catch.
So
Best
you know
catch
who's
will be-
going to be in that one then? Gino.
Yes,
Your
sir.
boy Gino.
Yes,
No.
sir.
Best completion percentage.
That's
So
unreal.
He'll be in there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's going to be our Pro Bowl this year. Should be a little bit interesting. And then real quick, our last fantasy segment of the 2022 season. And it's just quickly, Nico lost.
Wow. Like he did make the final.
He did,
Like,
I
I
know,
made the final.
it's not like he didn't, you know.
I'm proud. I am very proud.
Yeah.
I am proud.
That's better than going 12-2 in your league and then getting third place, which is what I did. I went 12-2. Cooper Kupp got hurt. Everybody got hurt. And
That
then
hurts.
I get to the first round bye and I lose.
That
So
hurts.
that's a little bit worse. And so I got no money. I got left just out of the money. I think that's worse than second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could have helped you. I was last place, but we're not going to talk about that because we already talked about that. I am embarrassed.
Yeah, I do have
So-
to say shout out to Zach. Zach had a strong team. We like to poke chops at him because he, as a joke, drafted Calvin Ridley with the last pick. But you know what? He said he's got heart, and that heart led his team all the way to a championship. So he knew something
He
that we
did
did.
drop him immediately. Like as soon as he dropped him, like Wednesday of that week, which was I think only, and that counted of one of the 3 moves
Yeah.
he made. I think in the entire, he really had no business doing that well.
It came down
But
to
when he got to the playoffs, his team he was never a high scoring team all season long. Then whatever collection of players, for whatever reason, when he got to the playoffs, then all his players went. And the biggest move he made is when he went and he picked up Cousins, because then he had that 1 week, which got him into the playoffs because that was the week where Cousins had 70 points or whatever the heck it was.
stupid.
But it was exciting to be watching the game because it was funny because it came down to the Sunday night game. And you guys were within about 15 points.
it came all the way down to the last game.
And you both had guys on Detroit.
I was up by, so before the Chargers game, I was actually up even more. But like I already ranted about, Brandon Staley kept in all of his starters. So
Yeah.
I think Keenan Allen had 2 touchdowns, and Austin Eckler had a big one towards the end. And so Zach got an extra 30-point head start going into Sunday Night Football. I was down by then. Before
You
that game, I was
closed it
up
for a while.
30 points.
Yeah, you were down and then you were up, and then it was
And then-
it was fun. It was exciting. And then,
I was down. I think I ended up being
And-
down 15 points going into the final. He had Jamal Williams, and I had
Scored twice.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. And
So it goes.
Amon-Ra St. Brown could not finish off, and
That's the sun,
and Jamal Williams had a touchdown late, and that's what sealed it.
And a great interview.
That's true. He had a fantastic
All-time.
interview.
All-time.
That was a good interview. That was.
Zach got me by about 30 points, and I will say I had Joe Mixon in Week 17, so that left a question mark because obviously we never finished that game. So those points
No, I
were
think,
all
and
null
that
and
was,
void.
I would agree with that. I mean, obviously that affected a lot of.
Although I
lot
wouldn't
of people.
say he was going to be a 30-point swing. So I think Zach still would have won regardless. But it was a close one. I ended up losing by 32 in the end in a 2-week final. So it was Zach 350.8 to me 318.0.
I actually saw some people doing like Madden. Did you see that?
I thought about that.
To get their winner.
Yeah.
There was a clip of it. The guy was watching Madden. You saw that? He's
Where
like,
he's like,
no,
yeah,
no, and then he drops it.
Maybe that's how they should do the Pro Bowl.
That's almost worse.
Just have all the guys sit around. They can all, what is it? Game mode where everybody just plays a player.
Just play
Just
Madden.
they have to play themselves.
Play
Like,
Madden.
they have
I
to
like
be.
it.
You have to be your own player and play Madden. That would be a better way
That
of doing
would,
the Pro Bowl. I'd watch that. I would actually watch a bunch of football players playing football. I mean, I
Did
would
they
watch
do
that.
during COVID? Wasn't that a
They might have.
Madden tournament?
There
I
was
wanna say
there was a Madden tournament. You weren't playing as your players, but there was a Madden tournament.
It was just like them playing the game.
Yeah.
In general, it just wasn't them being them. So, but yeah, congratulations, Zach Squared. You guys bested us. So you guys will hoist this trophy. Not us, but next year.
Yeah, we're gonna have a special event, and we'll put the sticker on it.
Yes,
When they see the
it's
guy
the-
carving.
It's the
We're gonna
trophy
put
ceremony.
We're gonna put a sticker on it if we can find a day where everybody can get together and may have some fun and talk about the league. And it was a lot of fun. It really was a lot of fun.
Might shed some tears, but
Yeah.
you know,
tears of pain.
Pain.
Tears of straight pain.
I really thought I had a good team.
I thought you had a pretty good team too. I mean, I was like, just
I was pretty confident with mine all season, but then all it takes is one team to get hot towards the end, and as you know,
Yep.
one team to get hot, one team to get cold, and
Yeah.
that seals it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all we have for fantasy until next time, until next season for fantasy. Going to be a very interesting season coming up. A lot of new free agents, a lot of draft picks coming. Dynasty leagues going to be a little interesting. We're in a couple of them. So yeah, that's all we have for the show today. Coach Todd, do you have any other closing remarks?
I just want to say thanks for having me.
Thanks for
I'm sure
coming
I'll be
on.
back again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do a little bit more of this. I think this is a nice platform you guys have here. And make sure you go follow me on Instagram at Coach Todd, Facebook, trying to do Twitter, trying to do YouTube. So that way my son's friends think I'm cool if I got like a little YouTube.
Yes,
They don't make
sir.
fun of me for having, however many followers. So follow me on there as well, Coach Todd. And, yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Great.
Alrighty, and that was episode 27 of the Big Yak Podcast. We'll come back next week for episode 28. Cover this past week's wild card. That will be whatever it is. We'll break down the future playoff games, divisional game, and then recap the wild card games. There we go. So yeah, thank you, Coach Todd, for
Thanks
coming
again.
on.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Maranto and Emerge. Thank you, Matt Johnson and BICBP Radio Network. See you next week for episode 28. See you guys later.
All right.